Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Will from Hermens Outdoors, and in today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've been getting out a lot this past month in April, and I want to share some of my reports and things that I've been doing, things that I've been seeing, and hopefully get you guys some information and insights to get out there. Now, I live in Oregon, and so I'll give a report for the Pacific Northwest in particular. Now, I'm hoping to get out and do some travels later this fall and summer, hopefully get out to some different areas in Washington and Oregon and Alaska, but hopefully to share my report and some of the other things that are going on around here, because right now we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic and there's certain things you can and can't do in the outdoors. So I kind of want to just share what I've been doing and what you guys could do out there here out in the outdoors in the Pacific Northwest. So on the fishing front in Oregon and Washington, things have been okay for me. I've had more success on the trout side, but starting on this with salmon reports, I personally haven't caught anything in the month of April. I've gone out about 5 or 6 times, have not put any of my gear into some fish. I had one day where the guy next to my wife and I hooked into one, a really nice 8-pound springer, and he was using K13 quick fish from Lure Jensen. So he was plunking from the bank right next to us. He threw out 2 plugs and he had, I think, wrapped with sardine. He didn't tell me exactly how he had it set up, but he had bait wrapped around the plugs and he was able to get one. But for this month, I just haven't put any fish on the bank, unfortunately. And of course, I don't have a boat to go fishing. So it's been, salmon fishing has been just, it is what it is for me. Generally for the Pacific Northwest area, I will start with this. Washington residents are not able to get outdoors and fish currently. So just due to the way the regulations are, any angler in Washington can't fish in the state of Washington, and they can't fish in the state of Oregon. For all of you Washingtonians out there, I feel for you guys. I am horribly sorry that you guys aren't able to go out and fish. I feel for you guys. Hopefully that'll change around soon so you guys can get out there on the water. So quick update to the video, guys. Washington this week is actually going to allow fishing to open back up in the state of Washington, which is awesome. Good for all you Washingtonians. So May 5th, all of you guys that live in Washington will be able to go out and fish again, which is awesome. I know you guys have been just dying to get out there, and you guys will be able to fish in Washington. There still won't be able to come over to Oregon and fish any of the rivers or lakes over here. But for all of you that live in Washington that have been sitting at home and dying to go fishing, you guys will be able to get back out on the water on the 5th. So adding that to the video, because when I started to do the report and update, that hadn't been made public yet. Now that it has, I wanted to make sure that all of you guys out there knew that lived in the state of Washington that fishing's back on. So get out there and get on those fish. So in terms of salmon fishing with Washington closed, Oregon, the salmon fishing's been okay. It hasn't been lights out, I would say. Springer fishing this year has been tough. I know for me personally, I've gone out 5 or 6 times. I lost count. I haven't landed a fish or gotten on a fish yet. I've seen one guy next to me catch one from the bank, which was really cool. Unfortunately, the reports that I've heard from other buddies, it's just been inconsistent in different areas. Now, where most people are probably springer fishing is on the Willamette right now with the Columbia closed. Springers are maybe making their way up to the tributary rivers, but we haven't had a lot of rain in Oregon either in the month of April, which has been really bad to get the water to move some of those fish into the other river systems. But it's been okay, and I would say for those that have been out salmon fishing, it's just some days it's location, and some days it's just playing around with different baits and spinners and stuff in the boat. So some days it's more of a herring bite, other days it's more of a plug bite or a spinner bite, and in different locations across the system, whether it's from the Multnomah Channel down in that area, kind of the St. John's area, all the way through downtown, the Selwood area where they call, and then by the Spaghetti Factory is another spot that's produced. That was kind of doing pretty good about 2 weeks ago, probably the middle of April. That area around Selwood was doing all right, but it's cooled off a little bit. It's just the fish aren't there in big numbers. It's been 1 or 2 here or there. Every single day. It hasn't been really hot where every boat's hitting a fish or marking fish. It's just been a little bit of a slow spring, unfortunately. And with the Columbia close, it's kind of taken and compacted a lot of people fishing onto one river. So hopefully, in the beginning of May here, we'll get a little bit of weather and push some of those fish into the system. Again, they were forecasting a pretty low return on spring Chinook this year anyway. So this is where I wasn't super jonesing this spring to go salmon fishing a lot. And that's where I said I've been doing a lot of trout fishing instead, because I've been putting in my time finding the trout and having a good time catching and releasing on the trout. But from a salmon report, it's still doing okay. I would say hopefully in May it's going to start picking up a little bit. I had one buddy who caught a summer steelhead, I think a few days ago. So that's starting to pick up in the area as well. Just put in your time and just go see where they're at. We need a little bit of rain to hopefully get those tributary rivers up a little bit to push some of those fish in there. But once those river levels get up a little bit, the fishing should be pretty good. So hopefully in early May, mid-May range where they're forecasting a little bit of rain, it should be really good fishing then for salmon and steelhead as well. In terms of fishing in Oregon for myself, like I said, I've been spending a little bit of time on salmon. Most of my time has been on trout, and I've been really successful both plunking and throwing spinners from the bank. And I will say the one thing that has been probably my go-to right now has been the power bait with the chartreuse color. Now, I've got a previous video on my channel where I go through the top 10 trout bait colors, and chartreuse is on there. I think it's number 9 on the list, but chartreuse has actually been my best color in the last couple weeks. And I think it's just because I've been fishing days where it's a little bit overcast and just the clarity in the water hasn't been as good. And just for whatever reason, I start with chartreuse and it seems to be doing really well. I've tried some other colors, orange, pink. I've tried yellow with garlic scent, and that just doesn't seem to have as good of a bite as the chartreuse has been. So if you're able to get out and trout fish right now, I would say chartreuse is probably the color to start with, and then just mix and match from there and see what's going on. But this has just been my hot color so far. The other part about the fishing that's been kind of a bummer is with Washington being closed for fishing, the Columbia River has been closed as well. And I know that's one spot where I would love to be out bank fishing right now for springers. Unfortunately, the Columbia's just closed. Hopefully at some point it'll get to open back up. I'd love to do some bank fishing for springers, some summer steelhead runs, and then upcoming shad runs up towards the dam. So shad's a nice fish to go catch, but hopefully the Columbia will be open, or it might just be closed all through the summer, which is going to be a total bummer. But I've got other plans to keep chasing trout, and then I've got bass fishing with my friend Richie, hopefully in the month of May and June. I still haven't caught my first bass and haven't gone out bass fishing yet, so I'm looking forward to doing some bass fishing with Richie coming in the next month. In terms of other outdoor activities in Oregon and Washington in particular, I'm just trying to in the Pacific Northwest, guys. Hiking is a really good exercise to get out there. There's plenty of off the beaten path trails that are open. There's places like Multnomah Falls that are a little bit more popular, and those places are definitely closed. They've been shut down. There's just no way for people to keep that social distancing. And so a lot of I would say the popular hiking trails around Oregon and Washington have closed. And for good reason. There's just way too many people that were clamoring to there, so they shut them down weeks ago. There's still plenty of good hiking trails open. And what I would say to folks is head west and either go towards the coastal mountain range. So as the weather warms up, there shouldn't be as much snow. You should be able to get into some really nice trails. Or start heading east, get out into a little bit more of that desert area in the gorge or on the east side of Washington and hit some of those trails. And what I would say is just go find trails and hiking places that are a little bit off the beaten path where you don't think there's going to be a bunch of people. And definitely go earlier in the day. I think that one of the things that I've learned in the last month has been going early to go hiking, biking, or fishing. You kind of beat those crowds. You don't have to be out all day. And say, like, if I'm done by 11 trout fishing, that's when, like, I see more people coming out to either, hike, bike, or fish is in that 10 to 11 o'clock range. So I'll get up early, get out there at 6, end my day at 11, and I can avoid those crowds. So there's still plenty of hiking and biking options around for those that are still looking to do that. All right, so what's coming up in the month of May that I'm looking forward to? So I'm going to give a little bit of a preview of kind of what am I going to do in the next month. Well, I'm still going to chase trout. I'm still going to chase them with my chartreuse bait for sure. Salmon's still open in Oregon on the Willamette, so I'm going to start trying to put some more time into the salmon fishing. The trout fishing's just been so good for me that I've been kind of focused in on that. I've had a good time. I've gone with a couple new people that I haven't fished with. So I'll probably spend a lot of my time in May trout fishing. I'll put a little bit of time in for salmon. And then the other thing that'll be coming up is there are some negative tides in the month of May to go clamming along the Oregon and Washington coast. So if you're somebody who loves to go clam, definitely something to do. Again, in Washington, it's probably closed because of just the current regulations, but in Oregon, it's still open. So grab your clam guns, grab your shovels. You can get out there and go dig some clams. Remember, the earlier, the better, especially on those low, high tides you can get there. Get your clams early. Again, avoid the crowds. That's something I always look forward to in May, is going out and chasing some clams and digging those up. So that's something I'm looking forward to as well. And thank you guys for watching the video today. And again, let me know if you guys like this video. Hit the thumbs up. I want to know if you guys like this video of me sharing out the report about what's going on in the fishing and hiking and biking and clamming and other things that we would throw in here would be crabbing and bow hunting and duck hunting, things like that. So if you guys like these sort of things, thumbs it up, leave a comment below if there's certain activities or things that you guys would like to hear about, or things that I should go do, in the next month, in the next month. Let me know, and I'll try to get out there and share some of what I've been seeing and what I've been doing to get some info out there for you guys to get inspired and get out there in the outdoors. So thank you guys for watching the video, and until next time, you guys, the outdoors is a gift. Share it with others.